And we are live. What up, players? Welcome to episode 212 of Player Life. It is the 21st of January here in Tokyo, Japan. What is good? What is up? Yeah. So today I want to talk about the opportunism of females. The opportunism of females because in 2021 or 2022, we're living in an era where well, I mean, females have always been opportunistic. That's just the way it is. Females have always been opportunistic. It's just in their nature. You can't hate them for it because it's like it just is what it is. You're not going to change it. You just have to accept it as it is and deal with it accordingly. But you need to understand it. You really need to understand what I mean. You need to understand when a female is being opportunistic and how they are opportunistic. And they will, the reason I thought I wanted to talk about this is because there was a story um in Japan that went viral, and it was about a Japanese woman that gave up her baby and sued the donor for lying about his ethnicity and education. But the story is pretty crazy, so I just wanted to read it. Um, Pretty crazy story, and it'll demonstrate how the savagery, how savage women can be, um, regarding their opportunism. You know, I mean, hell hath no fury like a woman scorned. If a woman thinks that she's getting a certain deal with a guy, and it turns out that that guy is not what he says he is, then yeah, that's it can lead to some angry females. I think it was in Australia that they're trying to make it illegal for a man to lie about his profession to females, like on even on on a date setting. So like if a guy went on a date with a guy and he said he's a lawyer and he's actually not, then yeah, I think they're trying to bring in legislation where it would mean that he would be prosecuted for lying, for saying that he's a lawyer when he's actually not. That's crazy. Australia seems like a seriously fucking. I mean, I'm sure it's a beautiful country and all, but man, it seems like a shithole like society. Like, I mean, just in terms of just the oh my god, it's just nuts. It is nuts what's going on in Australia. Um, Let me see. Yeah. I'm just probably gonna make this a short one today, but let me just share this screen. Yeah, so here it is. A Japanese woman gives up baby, sues donor she met online for lying about ethnicity, education to have sex with her. That's crazy. Um, yeah, this is another thing. Unvax sperm takes shot at becoming next Bitcoin. Hell yeah, baby. Pure blood. So let's get into it. A Japanese woman has given up her baby for adoption and suing the sperm donor after finding out that he lied about his marital status, ethnicity, and educational background. All right, yeah. So the woman who has only been identified as a 30-year-old woman from Tokyo said she and her husband wanted to try for a second child, but began looking for a sperm donor through a membership exchange site. After they discovered he had a hereditary condition. I could never do that, by the way. I could never do that. If I was somehow, if I had a child with a woman already, and for some reason I couldn't have another child, I couldn't get I couldn't raise another man's child. I couldn't raise another man's child. I just couldn't do it. I don't want to do it. I really don't. Um, yeah, I just couldn't see myself ever being in that position, like ever accepting that. Call me a bad person or whatever, but I'm just I don't think I could. Raising a child is hard enough. I've never done it, but I mean, imagine it's hard. It's like involves a serious commitment, and I imagine if it wasn't my child, I wouldn't. Yeah, I just wouldn't be a good father. Um, but yeah, I'm not really. I'm certainly no. I don't even know if I want kids. Full stop. I don't. Never say never, but I don't. I just don't know. I don't know if I do. Certainly not someone else's kids. Good lord, what the fuck? Anyway, um, donor said he was a single Japanese and graduated from a top university. The woman found a sperm donor in his 20s on social media who claimed he graduated from one of the top universities in Japan and that he was Japanese. He also told the woman he was single. The woman and donor reportedly had sex with the woman 10 times in order to get pregnant, and in June 2019 the two successfully conceived, Tokyo Shimbun reported. This is the craziest part for me. This is just the craziest part. Like, not only oh my god, it's one thing, it's bad enough in my opinion. Listen, in my opinion, that to artificially inseminate yourself with someone else, for your wife to artificially inseminate herself with someone else's sperm to get basically your cock, right? But to actually be a cuckold, like for the guy to actually raw dog her, like actually have sex with her, it's insane. It's nuts. Like he's literally he literally raw dogged her 10 times. Like, I thought it when I first heard the story, I thought it would have been a thing where he donated the sperm, but well, he definitely donated the sperm, but that's not what I thought it meant. But god damn, he just raw dogged her, his wife, like 10 times, just raw dogged her until she got pregnant. That's so crazy, man. That is just so nuts. I can't even comprehend, like, how could you ever tolerate that as a man? How could you tolerate your wife, the mother of your other child, like getting raw dogged by like some stranger, some dude? Man, what, like, literally dictionary definition of a cuckold. However, she later discovered that the donor was actually a Chinese national who was married and did not graduate from Kyoto University as he claimed. By the time she learned this information, it was too late to perform an abortion, and she gave birth to the baby, who is now in the care of a Tokyo-based childcare facility. So she gave up the child because he's Chinese, and he didn't graduate from a certain university, but it's probably mostly because he's Chinese. The reality is, like, a lot of this, like, PC, like, Western culture shit, this, like, this whole, like, oh, we're all the same, we're all equal, there's no difference between races. That shit doesn't fly in Japan. Like, that shit, like, Japanese are very, like, oh, we're Japanese, like, we're like purebloods, and that's it is what it is. But it's just fun. It's just funny. It's just funny when you compare it to the West. When you compare that, like, how retarded, like, the West is in terms of, like, oh, we're all the same, there's no difference, and like, the West is so far left, like, it's so far. And Japan, on the other hand, is kind of like, it's on the other side. Is like, they're like, you know, they acknowledge the difference between ethnicities, and there are differences between ethnicities, like the but certainly in Japan, I don't know, it's funny. That's why I always think it's fucking hilarious whenever I meet a Chinese or Japanese social justice warrior. It's like, yeah, shut the fuck up. Look at your, like, I always want to tell them, like, just to shut the fuck up, because look at your own country, you fucking hypocrites. Like they're way more like, like, yeah, I don't know how would I describe it, but I guess, Japan and China, they're way more, I guess they're ethno nationalist countries. Yeah, they are. Yeah, that's how I describe it. They're ethno nationalist countries. So whenever these like hilarious fucking idiot Japanese social justice feminists, or Chinese or whatever. The ironic thing is, oftentimes they'll never be critical of their own countries. They'll be jumping on the bandwagon, like they'll be jumping on the Black Lives Matter bandwagon and all that, but they'll never criticize their own country, like Japan or China, whatever. But it's funny. It's fucking funny. It's always the same. It's so typical. But yeah. So the woman is now suing the donor for about 330 million yen, about $2.8 million, for emotional distress, claiming the donor gave her inaccurate information just to have sex with her. Well, you gotta respect the hustle. I mean, females don't understand male nature. Men will pretty much do anything to have sex. Men will do what it takes. Well, a lot of men will. Beta men, beta men in the West will they're not doing whatever it takes. But a lot of men have thrown in the towel because they don't think it's worth it anymore. But but still, a lot of men will go to extreme efforts to have sex. Like that's what it is. You know, and women will never really understand that. These women say, "Oh, women have just as high a sex drive as men. Women are just as sexual as men." It's like they're not. Like they're not. I mean, listen, in certain under certain conditions, as at certain times, they can be certainly. They can certainly be very sexual, but in general, men crave sex much more than women. It's not debatable. Like it's not like it's like, oh no, I know this girl and she's like, shut the fuck up. Listen, shut the fuck up. Listen, in general, men crave sex way more than women. Yeah. So I mean, it just pisses me off when people like say, oh, men and women are just the same. No, it's different. We're different. We operate differently. Um, under certain circumstances, under certain conditions, women can be as sexual. They can be as horny, but like men are just like a healthy male with high testosterone will just like go like every day. Like he'll leave his house, he'll see a hot girl, and like if he had the opportunity, like he would have sex with a random stranger as long as she's hot. Females just don't operate like that. You know, it's just like is how would you describe it? What would it be comparison to make? I don't know. Like in reality, like yeah, like I said, a man will leave his house, go out into society, like, and he'll see women that he doesn't need to have any information about them. He doesn't need to know anything about them. But if she's attractive, he will, he'd be more than willing to hook up with her. Like immediately. If an attractive woman came up to most men, and the man has time and he's available, if she proposed to him to go and have sex, most men would accept. Whereas you flip the script, no way. Like there's very few cases that would happen. It's just very few cases. Like I was just having a coffee with my friend yesterday, and we were chilling, and these two kind of foreign looking girls. I think they can't. They might have been mixed. They were like mostly. They looked like, yeah. They might have had some Japanese in them. My friend thought they were kind of mixed, but they weren't. Let's just say they were not attractive. They weren't attractive at all. Like they looked like Western girls, like fully, like to me anyway. They might have had some Japanese heritage, but to me they looked like Western girls. But They came into I was sitting down with my friend. These girls, man, these girls were given like the most insane IOIs, like, and they're females, so they're not going to do anything, but they're just looking over, like staring over at us and smiling and like giving the most insane IOIs. Like they desperately, like like basically females don't approach men, like they don't. But this is their way of approaching, like, but by absurdly, like I don't think I've actually ever had a girl hit on me as hard, like since I've been in Japan. Like I've never had a girl like be that like give me that many IOIs. And it meant nothing because they were not attractive at all. Like it was not even at 4 a.m. and I'm not even no, just 0%. 0% chance of wanting to ever bang them. But yeah, they were given mad IOIs, and I just said to my friend, like it's never like it's never the hot girls that behave like this. Like I wish it was like it would be insane. I just said to my friend, imagine how insane it would be if like really hot girls gave us IOIs like this. Like it would just be such a crazy world to live in. Like it would just because it never happens. I mean, because hot girls just don't give out IOIs. Like they can give out IOIs. Don't get me wrong, but I'm just talking about in the way in which these girls were giving the IOIs. It was so absurd. Like it was so like they were just staring at us, like and smiling, like these giving us these demon eyes, like these demon like sex eyes. I was like, what the fuck? It was making me uncomfortable. I was like, Jesus. I just stared back for a moment and just looked at them, and I was like, what are you girls doing? Calm down. But yeah, we didn't talk to them or anything. There's no way I would want to have talked to them. They were just not attractive. Like I would say threes. Like they were probably threes out of tens. But yeah, it's just funny saying like imagine like hot girls actually did this. And don't get me wrong, like I've gotten IOIs from hot girls, but it's just not in this kind of way, like not this direct. 'Cause this was like really direct. But anyway, yeah, so in Japan, sperm donors are practically unregulated. The entire country has just one commercial sperm bank, and artificial insemination by a donor, a procedure that involves inserting sperm into a person's uterus, is only limited to married couples, thereby excluding women and LGBTQ couples. Even for those eligible, only a mere 12 hospitals in the entire country provide such fertility treatment. Yeah, Japan is pretty. Japan is pretty. Yeah, they're pretty big. I mean, I don't know, but they're pretty traditional. Let's just say it like that. Everyone thinks Japan is super, technologically advanced, but actually, it's quite traditional. I mean, it is a technologically advanced, but in a lot of ways, it's kind of old school Japan. Um, the entire country of 126 million has just one commercial sperm bank, which was founded in June. Artificial insemination by donors, a procedure that involves, yeah, I read that. Okay, so Japan also has right to know origin laws that enable children of donors to legally be able to identify their biological father. That's based. I mean, that should be the case. I mean, imagine not allowing a child to know its real father. That's fucked up. It's fucked up. This makes it very difficult to attract potential sperm donors who desire to remain anonymous. Um, yeah, I mean, it's pretty fucking weird. It's pretty fucked up to like if you know you're not allowed to know who your real biological parents are. I think it can be quite damaging to kids. These limitations have forced many Japanese people to look for alternative ways of obtaining sperm, creating an underground black market with many of the transactions taking place on social media. It's crazy, man. It's crazy. Yeah, I mean, what a crazy. Imagine getting involved in that. black market. I was joking around with my friend yesterday. It'd be funny to make a Craigslist charge for your pure blood sperm, unvaxxed sperm. Could be, yeah, it could be an industry in that. Could be IOX says, when I was there, seemed like many Japanese girls wanted a half white baby. I mean, where are all these girls? Someone show me, introduce. I've been in Japan 7 years. Show who's these? Who are these girls? Like, send them my way. If they pay me, I'll oblige. But this is a bit of a stereotype. I don't know. Like, who are these girls that were saying? Like, I mean, some gaijin hunters say it, like they say it, but they don't. I don't know if they actually mean it. Um, so like I think this is overly, no offense, but this is overly, um, yeah, like it's not as prevalent as people make it out to be. And I've been here 7 years, and I don't have girls running up to me trying to like get my seed. Um, IOX 1990s. It's quite a while ago. I mean, honestly, growing up as a mixed kid in Japan is probably kind of weird. I mean, it depends on where you're at. I mean, in Tokyo it might be better because it's more international. There's more, but like growing up as a mixed kid in like countryside Japan would probably suck. I mean, they're always going to be treated as a foreigner, like always, like no matter what, because it's like a homogenous ethno-nationalist country. Japan is an ethno-nationalist country. Let's just be honest about that. Like they're homogenous. They're very like proud of their race. The only people that are not allowed to be proud of their race are white people. Like everyone else is allowed to be proud. Like it's like black people are allowed to say black power. Oh, I'm pro black and stuff. Imagine I was like like no one bats an eyelid if like a Japanese person says I'm pro Japanese, or like no one gives a shit. No one bats an eyelid, especially when black people say I'm pro black. It's like imagine if I come out and say I'm pro white. Like it's just like you get cancelled. Like it's just weird. Like I thought we're all supposed to be equal. I thought we're all supposed to be able to say the same things, but we're not. We're not. We live in a fucking clown world. We live in a stupid fucking dumb clown world, and yeah. But yeah, I mean, it just I was listening to a podcast the other day, and it was like it was No Jumper. It's like they have a lot of hip hop artists and stuff on, and the guy was like, one of the guys they had on was saying like he's pro black, like he's a some rapper, and he was like, yeah, I'm so pro black, man. It's like I was just thinking like flip the script there. It's like what, like what, yo, like what, like I mean it's fine. I don't care. I just don't like the hypocrisy. I don't care about like I don't give a fuck, but I care about that. If a white person says that, that's like you're not allowed to say it. Like it's like, oh my god, you're a white supremacist. Oh my god. It's like there really is. We're not all equal. Like there's no equality. We're all They say, oh, we're all equal. We're all the same. I just want equality. These fucking idiots. Shut the fuck up. But yeah, I mean, I'm on a bit of a rant today, but yeah. Iowa says, being a tall white American guy made me king gaijin of shit mountain. What the fuck? I mean, I'd say in the 90s it would have been better. It would have been like more novel. Like it's kind of the cat's out of the bag. I mean, you like like these days it's different. Like the kind women are kind of it's more, it's almost like unless you're like a really like they kind of know that like some dorky guys are attracted to Japan, and that so it's almost they call it like dasai. you know it's a thing that the Japanese chicks are aware that oh they're seen as easy, so a lot of them actually make it even more difficult these days because it's almost like they don't. A lot of girls actually don't even want to be seen with a foreigner because they're aware that, oh, like Japanese people will look down upon them and say, oh, she's just with a loser white guy that's a dork back in his home country, and like they're aware of that stereotype and that kind of. So you like, if you want to get with a really hot Japanese girl, you have to have really good game, and you have to know your shit. You have to know your shit. And there's just this idea that like white guys have like an advantage these days. It's bullshit. It's bullshit. It's bullshit. I know. I've black friends, and they get with hot girls. You know, I mean, I know some naughty little bitches that, you know, like, oh my god, the stories I've heard, man. The stories I've heard, like chicks, these so innocent looking girls getting dicked the fuck down by, by guys of all kinds of colors. But, you know, I just despise that stereotype that white guys have some advantage. Like, there are different women have different preferences, but, it's the thing that we're like, you can just come to Japan as a white guy and just like clean up. It's not, maybe back in the 90s, maybe back in the it was probably different, but because it was novel, it was like definitely way less foreigners here. Um, there's still not that many foreigners, but it's just the cat's out of the bag kind of thing with the internet. Um, Iowa says they know the myth of the big BBC too. Yeah, man. I mean, I was just talking to a friend yesterday, and a girl he's banging, like she's really hot too. But yeah, so he was telling me that he found out that she was using, she'd been using Tinder for years, and she was fucking, yeah, she was riding the BBC carousel, and like getting, and it basically got out. But yeah, I don't want to say too much, but yeah, the cat gets out of the bag eventually with these hoes. Like, if you're dating a Gaijin hunter in Tokyo, like, the cat's gonna get a, if you're dating what we call Gaijin hunters, girls that like foreign guys, the cat's gonna get out of the bag about her past. Like, it's gonna come up. Like, you're gonna bump into like guys that she's hooked up. If you're going out into clubs and stuff and doing nightlife and stuff, which typically Gaijin hunters will do, the cat's gonna get out of the bag. You're gonna run into other guys. Your friends are gonna be like, "Oh, I know that girl. I know that girl. Yeah." So yeah, you're gonna hear stories, man. The cat always gets out of the bag, but the worst is like man, there's one thing, like, you know, if I'm just trying to hook up, I don't care. I don't really give a shit about a girl's past. I don't really care. Um, I don't care because I'm just trying to have fun. I'm not looking for wifey material anyway. But what really is unacceptable for me is when a girl tries to make me work harder than guys in the past. Like, you know, and this girl in particular, well, it was my friend, a girl, my friend is banging, but you know, she was giving it away basically on Tinder for free, like doing home deliveries. She was doing home deliveries on Tinder, and he had to work for a bit. He had to take her on a few dates, and it was revealed. And I was like, "Yo, bro, you gotta be more savage." But that's unacceptable, really. Like, essentially, you're getting cooked when you're tolerating that kind of shit. Like, that's why I always try and bang on the first date. Like, that's because I know these girls have had sex on the first date, like, probably plenty of times before. So if you're not getting it on the first date, you're paying more for it. That's why every guy should try and bang on the first date. You shouldn't feel guilty about it at all. Like, it's a blue pill mindset to feel guilty about it when these girls are being naughty little girls. Like, they're being fucking naughty, bad little bitches running around on these dating apps, going over to fucking get all kinds of dick, BBC, like all kinds. Like, they're just getting, um, Ntech1 says, yo, what's up? What apps can I use to get a Japanese lady? Are you in Japan? Like, where are you? I don't know. Like, what I like. If you're not in Japan, I don't know. Like, if you're, I I don't know. Maybe use if you're not in Japan, maybe use Hello Talk and try and find. Hello Talk is a language learning application where you can meet people. But yeah, I'm gonna have to cut this one short today. I got some shit to do. But yeah, as usual, you know, like, comment, subscribe. um Iowa says Hawaii and Vegas are great for nailing Japanese girls on vacation. Yeah, and I imagine Japanese girls on vacation are very promiscuous. I'm in fact I know they are. Um yeah, so I mean, yeah, they're definitely. Yeah, you gotta be savage. These girls are opportunistic. They'll go for the best deal they can get. They'll pretend that they want a nice guy, they want this, that, and the other, but at the end they want to get. You don't want to be the nice guy. You want to be the guy that gets to dick them down. You don't want to be the boyfriend material. You don't want to be the guy that's, oh, I like you. Oh, but you know, oh, you're so sweet and nice. But I just I the only reason I hooked up with him was because the sex was so good. Man, seriously. You need to be the guy that's getting the good sex, not the fucking dinner dates and all the bullshit. Um yeah, just you got to understand the dark side of female nature to really live the player lifestyle. Um, but yeah, I gotta roll out. But yeah, I'll be back. Have a good weekend. Back on Monday 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Until then, guys, peace out. Have a good one. Bye bye.